Welcome to our lesson on World Cup history. Today we are going to explore one of the most famous sporting events in the entire world. The FIFA World Cup is more than just a football tournament. It is a global celebration that brings together countries, cultures, emotions, and unforgettable moments. Every 4 years, millions of people watch, cheer, and remember the matches that shape football history. In this lesson, we will follow the story of the World Cup from its beginnings to the modern era. We will see how it started, how it grew, and why it became such an important part of world culture. We will also learn about legendary teams, famous players, dramatic finals, and the way the tournament changed over time. The World Cup is special because it is not only about winning, it is also about national pride, teamwork, and the dream of lifting the trophy for an entire country. Some tournaments are remembered for brilliant goals, some for shocking upsets, and some for moments that united people across the planet. As we move through the slides, try to notice how the competition reflects the history of football itself. The World Cup has changed with technology, politics, travel, and media, but its core idea has stayed the same: the best national teams in the world competing for glory. By the end of this lesson, you will understand why the World Cup is considered the biggest stage in football, and why its history continues to inspire fans everywhere. The story of the World Cup begins in 1930. At that time, football was already popular in many countries, but there was no single global tournament for national teams. FIFA, the International Football Organization, decided to create one. The first World Cup was held in Uruguay, a country that had won Olympic football gold and was eager to host the new event. Only 13 teams took part, which is very small compared with modern tournaments, but it was a huge step for world football. Travel was difficult in those days, especially across oceans, so many European teams had to make long journeys by ship. That alone shows how different the world was then. Uruguay won the first World Cup by defeating Argentina in the final. The event was a success, even though it was still young and experimental. It proved that international football could attract attention and excitement on a large scale. The first tournament also showed something important: football could connect nations through competition. Even with fewer teams and simpler organization, the World Cup already had drama, passion, and history. The 1930 tournament laid the foundation for everything that came later. Without that first step, there would be no legendary finals, no famous champions, and no global tradition every 4 years. When we look back at the first World Cup, we see the beginning of a sporting journey that would grow far beyond what anyone imagined at the time. It was the birth of a competition that would eventually become the most watched event in football. After the first tournament, the World Cup slowly grew into a much larger event. More countries wanted to participate, and football became more organized around the world. The number of teams increased over time, which made the competition more diverse and more difficult to win. In the early years, travel and communication were still major challenges, especially because the world was affected by economic problems and later by war. The World Cup was not held in 1942 or 1946 because of World War II, which interrupted many international activities. When the tournament returned in 1950, it symbolized a new beginning. From that point on, the World Cup continued to expand in size, popularity, and importance. Television also played a huge role in this growth. As more people could watch matches from home, the tournament reached audiences far beyond the stadiums. The World Cup became a shared experience for families, neighborhoods, and entire nations. Over the decades, FIFA increased the number of participating teams to include more regions of the world. This made the tournament more representative and gave new countries the chance to shine. Expansion also brought new styles of play, new rivalries, and new stories. The World Cup was no longer just a European and South American event. It became truly global. This growth helped transform football into the world's most popular sport. The tournament's expansion is important because it shows how a simple idea can become a worldwide tradition when people believe in it, and support it across generations. One of the most exciting parts of World Cup history is the list of champion teams. Over the years, several nations have built legendary reputations through their success. Brazil is the most successful country in World Cup history, known for its beautiful style of play and its record number of titles. Italy and Germany have also won multiple championships and are famous for their discipline, organization, and resilience. Argentina and France have become modern powers with unforgettable victories and world-class players. Each champion team tells a different story. Some wins came through attacking brilliance, while others came through strong defense, tactical intelligence, or dramatic penalty shootouts. The World Cup is special because no champion wins easily. Every title must be earned against the best teams in the world. That is why each victory becomes part of national memory. Fans remember where they were when their country won, and those moments are passed from one generation to the next. The champions also shape football culture. Their styles influence coaches, players, and young fans everywhere. When people talk about World Cup history, they often remember the winners first, but the real story is deeper than trophies alone. It is about the journey, the pressure, and the ability to perform when the whole world is watching. The champion teams are not just winners on a scoreboard. They become symbols of excellence, belief, and national pride. Their victories help define the identity of the tournament itself. The World Cup is remembered not only for champions, but also for unforgettable finals. A final match is the last and most important game of the tournament, and it often produces the greatest drama. Some finals are famous because they were close and tense. Others are remembered because one team played brilliantly and dominated the match. There are finals that went into extra time, and some were decided by penalty shootouts, which can be incredibly stressful for players and fans. The final is where history is made in a single evening. A goal in the final can become one of the most famous moments in football history. A save by a goalkeeper, a missed penalty, or a late equalizer can change everything. Because the final is watched by such a huge global audience, the pressure is enormous. Players know that one match can define their careers forever. That is why World Cup finals are often emotional, intense, and unforgettable. They are not just sporting events. They are stories of hope, fear, courage, and triumph. Some finals are remembered for tactical battles, while others are remembered for individual brilliance. The best finals combine skill, suspense, and meaning. They remind us that football is not only about technique, but also about nerve and character. When people look back on World Cup history, they often remember the final first because it captures the entire spirit of the tournament in one decisive game. World Cup history is also the history of great players. Some footballers become legends because of what they do on the biggest stage in the world. Pelé is one of the most famous names in World Cup history, known for winning 3 titles with Brazil and for inspiring generations of fans. Diego Maradona became unforgettable for his extraordinary skill and leadership, especially in the 1986 tournament. More recently, players like Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and Kylian Mbappé have created iconic World Cup moments. These players matter because they turn matches into memories. A great player can change the rhythm of a game, lift a team's confidence, and create magic when the pressure is highest. The World Cup is different from club football because players represent their countries, which adds another layer of emotion. A star is not only playing for a team, he is playing for a nation, for family, and for millions of supporters. That is why World Cup performances are often judged so strongly. A single tournament can elevate a player into legend status. At the same time, the World Cup can be cruel because even the best players do not always win. This makes the tournament more human and more dramatic. The icons of World Cup history are remembered not just for trophies, but for moments of brilliance, leadership, and courage. Their stories help us understand why football is so powerful. It gives individuals the chance to become part of something much larger than themselves. One reason the World Cup is so exciting is that it often produces surprises. In football, the stronger team does not always win. That uncertainty is part of the magic. Throughout World Cup history, there have been shocking upsets where underdog teams defeated much more famous opponents. These results are remembered because they show that belief, discipline, and teamwork can overcome reputation. A smaller football nation can suddenly become the story of the tournament. Fans love these moments because they remind us that anything is possible. Some upsets happen in the group stage, while others occur in the knockout rounds when the pressure is highest. A single mistake can send a favorite home early. That unpredictability makes the World Cup different from many other competitions. It creates suspense from the first match to the final whistle. Upsets also help grow football in new places. When a less expected team performs well, young players in that country feel inspired. They see that success is possible. These moments can change how the world views a nation's football culture. The World Cup is therefore not only a contest of skill, it is also a contest of courage, preparation, and mental strength. The biggest teams may have more history, but every tournament gives smaller teams a chance to write a new chapter. That is why fans keep watching. They know that the next great surprise could happen at any time, and that possibility is one of the tournament's greatest strengths. The modern World Cup is very different from the early tournaments. Today, it is a massive global event with advanced stadiums, television coverage, digital media, and detailed analysis. Millions of people follow the matches live on screens around the world. Technology has changed the way the game is played and judged. Video review systems help referees make better decisions, and data analysis helps teams prepare more carefully. The tournament has also become more inclusive, with more countries from different continents taking part. This reflects the global growth of football. Modern World Cups are not only about the matches themselves. They are also about opening ceremonies, fan culture, social media, and worldwide conversation. The event now reaches beyond sport into entertainment, business, and national identity. Hosting the World Cup is a major responsibility because it requires huge infrastructure, security, and organization. At the same time, it gives the host country a chance to show its culture to the world. The modern era has also brought new debates about scheduling, climate, travel, and fairness, which shows that the tournament continues to evolve. Even with all these changes, the heart of the World Cup remains the same. National teams competing for glory in front of a global audience. The modern tournament combines tradition and innovation. It respects the past while adapting to the present. That balance is one reason the World Cup remains so powerful and relevant in the 21st century. The World Cup matters because it is much more than a sports competition. It is a shared global event that creates memories, emotions, and connections across borders. People from different languages and cultures can watch the same match and feel the same excitement. That is rare and powerful. The tournament also has social and cultural importance. It can unite a country, inspire young athletes, and give people a sense of belonging. For many fans, the World Cup is tied to family traditions, childhood memories, and national pride. It can also influence fashion, music, media, and public conversation. Economically, it can bring attention and investment to host countries, though it also requires careful planning and responsibility. Historically, the World Cup reflects the changing world. It has survived war, expanded across continents, and adapted to new technology. That long history gives it depth and meaning. When we study the World Cup, we are also studying how people around the world connect through sport. The tournament shows that football can be both simple and profound. A ball, a field, and 2 goals are enough to create stories that last for decades. That is why the World Cup continues to matter so much. It is not just about who wins. It is about what the competition represents: ambition, unity, drama, and the shared human love of sport. To conclude, World Cup history is a story of growth, drama, and global connection. From the first tournament in 1930 to the modern era, the competition has evolved into the biggest stage in football. It has given us legendary champions, unforgettable finals, iconic players, and shocking surprises. It has also shown how sport can bring people together across national and cultural boundaries. The World Cup is powerful because it combines competition with emotion. Every 4 years, the world pauses to watch, discuss, and remember. New generations discover the tournament, while older fans relive the moments that shaped their lives. That continuity is part of its magic. The World Cup is not frozen in the past. It keeps changing, and each edition adds new chapters to the story. Future tournaments will likely bring new stars, new technologies, and new champions, but they will still belong to the same great tradition. When we study World Cup history, we learn about more than football. We learn about ambition, resilience, identity, and the human desire to compete and celebrate together. That is why the World Cup remains a living legacy. It is a tournament, a memory, and a global language all at once. Thank you for joining this journey through World Cup history. The next time you watch a match, remember that you are not just seeing a game. You are watching a piece of history in motion.